assault on Sonny Gray. Oh, boy. Abreu again. Another one, and this one to the upper deck. The rout is on in Game 3.
Ready on the 1-2. Garcia hits this one high and deep to left. Really high, really far, and gone! Adolis Garcia. And the Texas Rangers now lead it 6-0 in the second inning.
And now, here's Rob Dibble.
All right, 5:07. Howard 5 minutes away. Phillies and Braves will do battle. Game 3. Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, they came walking in some Deion Sanders gear.
Nice.
Before this Game 3.
They here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's Colorado. Prime. Nice. Trying to get a little bit of young swag, I guess, for those guys. Hard to believe that Harper's getting old.
I know. He's
Isn't
an
that amazing?
old guy. That is so amazing.
Just yesterday, I remember him walking through the All-Star locker room in AA and everybody getting all upset. And now he's got kids and he's grown up and he's a good guy.
Do you think that he does that to 20-something-year-olds? Like, when you guys saw him, you're like, who the hell is this guy?
I'm sure he was a Boris guy, obviously. And I'm sure that if he could go back and smack his 20-year-old self in the face, he would and say, don't do all that crap. You don't need it. And honestly, when he first came on the scene, I don't think it was all him. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. They had the YouTube video of him hitting the ball 500 feet, all that kind of stuff. That was hype. But what I knew about him, because I was coaching on the West Coast, was that this was a young kid. He got his I don't know, what do you call your early diploma? But he got your GED. He got that. Then he was thinking, okay, I'll go to college, and he went to a JUCO and did all of that damage with a wood bat.
Yeah.
He set all those records in the JUCO in Vegas with a wood bat in his hand. So that's when I was like, okay, this guy's legit, because nobody does that. You'd have to go back 50 years to find guys that were using wood in college. So I just thought that was pretty miraculous. But, no, I'm sure he would tell any young kid, hey, listen, don't do all that stuff. Because, look, Matt Holliday's kid is fantastic. You see this Rushman. You see, Gunnar Henderson of the Orioles.
Bobby Witt.
Sucks that they lost. Bobby Witt Jr. Nope. These guys have parents that were in the major leagues. You look at Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr., and even Cavan Biggio. They don't make a lot of noise. They're pretty quiet. So I think it was more that Harper didn't know what was going on at the time. And if he has a kid someday, I'm sure he's going to be like, let's be a little bit quieter when we're breaking on the scene.
I'm really excited to see him play because I think he's on a mission to win a World Series now in his career. Didn't get it last year, was very close. And, obviously we all know what happened in Game 2 in this series, and I'm sure he's thinking about that as well to try to redeem himself. Now, I do have splits for the starting pitchers against the lineups that have been released. Elder, as you brought up, is only 24 years old. He only has 1 year under his belt. He was 13-4 this year, but a small sample size for all of these players to face him. And I do think this came 2 starts ago for Elder, but pretty much everyone's 0 for. You got Baum, who was 2 for 5, Castellanos 2 for 5, and then the Marshman, Mr. Marsh at the bottom of the order, was 2 for 3, but everybody else is still looking for their first hit against Elder. Nola, however, against the Atlanta Braves, huge sample size for everyone, really. Acuna Jr. batting .327 against him. That's 49 at-bats. You got Austin Riley, who is...
Well, look at the homers, though. You got 5 guys in this lineup that have more than 30 home runs. Acuna's got 4 off Nola.
Yeah.
Riley's got 5.
Yeah.
Osuna's got 4. You got Arnaud's got 2, and you got Michael Harris has a couple. So, yeah, these guys, when Nola misses with a pitch, he misses badly.
I would say Darno and Arcia are the only guys with just questionable batting averages against Nola.
Oh, no. They've been dominated, but even Osuna in 51 at-bats, lifetime against Nola, 18 strikeouts. Remember, Osuna played for the Marlins for a time. 51 at-bats, 18 strikeouts, but he does have 4 dongs. That's pretty much, all or nothing. Hitting .255, 13 for 51. So these guys, they have Acuna, Albies, Riley have faced him a ton since Nola's been with the Phillies.
I just noticed this. The Phillies are doing it again. They're doing it again. You got Schwarber leading off in front of Trey Turner again.
Dude, it's their winning line. Listen, dude. All right, so let me break some of this stuff down for you. So regular season, if you went by just home runs and batting average, the Braves should crush the Phillies. 307 as a team, record-setting, by the way. Hit 276 as a team. This is the Braves. The Phillies, they hit 256 as a team, 20 points lower, 220 home runs. So they got guys that you think, oh, my God, Real Muto and Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins was missed a ton this year. Don't forget the third baseman that got hurt before the season even started.
Right.
So that was huge. But the Phillies are the hotter team. They won 4 out of their last 5 games, beat the Mets last day of the season, swept the Marlins, and then they took the first game against Atlanta. So they had won 4 straight until they lost the 5-4 game. Over on the Atlanta side, they had to wait 6 days to play their first game in the postseason against the Phillies, and they lost 3-0, got shut out. But they lost 2 out of 3 to the Nationals at the end of the year because they were resting guys. So they have not had a lot of happiness in the last 2 weeks in that Atlanta locker room. So really that win against the Phillies, that was their first win in 10 days.
If the Phillies have more one-run losses, I'm blaming this stupid lineup, man. I know the guy is a hammer in the postseason, but Schwarber is batting less than 200 on the regular season. He's batting 235, which is, I guess, great nowadays against the Atlanta Braves in particular, or excuse me, again in the postseason in particular. He's only got 4 hits. Trey Turner is a base hit bunt. Trey Turner is a guy that you got to pay attention to on the base pad. We were watching the first inning. I know it's really only about the first inning because the lineup's going to get recycled and he's going to be, possibly not leading off for the second or third time up. But the first inning, even if this guy hits a home run, nobody's on base. This is baseball 101. I just can't get over with the lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies in the postseason.
I don't get it. I mean, Trey Turner's first 3-4 months, not spectacular, but this guy is an MVP. He's unbelievable, and even in the postseason, hitting 375, like you said. They probably asked Turner and Harper if they want Schwarber in front of you. And so, in order to break up some of these righties in their lineup, that's why you've got Schwarber in there. But like you said, it makes no sense a guy that's got a less than 300 on base percentage during the regular season. Right. He's hitting 235, but he's got a 278 on base percentage. He's got 7 strikeouts and 17 at bats. That's 7 times it was an unproductive waste of an at bat. So I don't, from a statistical standpoint or an analytical standpoint, I don't understand it. But from a comfort standpoint, the Phillies are very comfortable, and maybe Rob Thompson is superstitious or something.
That's what I was thinking.
But they keep sticking that dude leading off. I don't get it. You don't get it, but they're doing it anyway.
Astros Twins will be the next game. We'll start probably about the 6th or 7th inning of the first one. 7:07 is the official first pitch. Astros will be at the Twins tonight. It is you're kidding me. Urquidy is on the mound for the Houston Astros, and this Joe Ryan? Who? This guy's going for the Twins tonight in a big, big spot, trying to save Minnesota's life here in the playoffs.
I don't know if it's saving their life. They did sweep Toronto Blue Jays, and they took the first game from the second game. They
lose and they're out,
Dibs.
They lose and
they're out. But listen, I think that the Twins are playing with house money. I never thought that they were one of the best teams in baseball all year. I thought that the Guardians and the Twins were kind of going neck and neck to see who really wants to win the American League Central. But they do have a great lineup. But they have a lot of injuries, like you said. Lewis is banged up with the bad hamstring. Yeah. Buxton is out. I think the Byron Buxton injury is probably the biggest one to the Twins. That guy's power, his speed, that really hurts you. But listen, just like the Dodgers are an all-hands-on-deck situation right here, one and done for the Twins, it's the Game 7 scenario where if Ryan goes 3, and he gets through the lineup the first time, you're already starting to get the bullpen warmed up in the 4th inning. If he gets into trouble and gives up, I'd say 2 runs early to the Astros. You can't go down 3 or 4 runs to the Astros. That's why I was kind of surprised with the whole Sonny Gray leaving him out there thing yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, when you get down 4 or 5 runs to that Astros team, Javier was dealing. It was like, okay, we're not coming back from this. I personally always think I could come back. And just like the Braves, they scratched out that 1 run when they were down 4-0 on a bad Trey Turner miscue from Castellanos out of right field. I mean, that changed the outcome of that game, because that was kind of like okay, we could come up for air now. We're not going to lose again and go down 2-0 to the Phillies. And all of a sudden, they just turn things around. So I just think that, it's about trying to stay close early, keeping the fans invested in this Twins game. But Ryan is not out there for 6 or 7 innings by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, my thought with Baldelli last night, because of Sonny Gray giving up the 4, I was thinking, okay, we're going to concede this game. Let's put up the white flag. Let's just try to get as many outs from Sonny as we possibly can without dipping into the bullpen. Even though they do use 4 pitchers after that, didn't really get anybody over 35. Bailey Ober was kind of a waste too once he gave up that last home run, especially in the 9th inning. It was just trying to eat up some outs. But my thought was Baldelli was just trying to save some arms and concede Game 3. Let Sonny go out there and try to eat up as many outs as possible.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with conceding, but I don't like to fall down 4 or 5-0 to a team.
Yeah.
That, when you fall that far down, it's really hard to dig out of that.
So your thought is Baldelli's thinking, like, he's going to get out of this. We'll eat the 4, and then we're going to come back and tie this ball game, or at least get up 1 run with Sonny still out there.
Well, listen, Sonny got him there. I can go all the way back to when people still bitch about Grady Little leaving Pedro out there. Your big money guys, your guys that are supposed to be out there, I can't get on my manager for pulling them out. Now, in today's game, they pull guys out in the 3rd inning now.
Yep.
Bruce Bochy did it in that series that he just won. So against Baltimore, I think he pulled Heaney out in the 4th inning. So I think some guys are quicker to pull the trigger and get a guy out of the game. I think Baldelli was just thinking, you know what? He looks good. He's got good stuff. And remember, they've got their analytics stuff too. These guys are such nerds, especially the younger managers. They're looking at velocity drops. They're looking at the RPM drops. They're looking at, is his curveball still at 2,500 RPMs, or did it fall off a couple of hundred RPM? So trust me, they've got the statistical data to back up reasoning to leave a guy out there. Did it work against them? 100%. Plus, they weren't hitting off Javier anyway.
Yeah.
They only managed 3 hits on the day and the 1 run. But, once you get down that 5 and then 6, that's tough to come back from.
One bet I want to make tonight, 9:07 with the first pitch, Dodgers, Diamondbacks. I want to take the over tonight, Dibs, because I just cannot believe that the Dodgers are going to score 2 or less runs like they have in the first 2 games. And then I cannot believe that the Diamondbacks will be shut out by Lance Lynn at home tonight. I feel like runs are going to get scored, and this is going to be back and forth between these 2 teams. I could see Lance Lynn having a really good start, at least for the first 3 innings, like you said.
Well, they're in Arizona tonight.
Right. But I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to get shut out at home.
Oh, God, no. I think Lance Lynn, he's just going to try to hold on for dear life and give them an opportunity to win. He hadn't been stellar most of the year. And Fott's got almost a 6 ERA, so he's going to give up some runs.
Exactly.
And he's 24 years old. So Fott's more like an opener right now for Torey Lovello. Trying, like I keep saying, if you could get 9 outs, get through the lineup once, then turn it over to the bullpen with a chance to win that game, that would be gravy for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, and you do have Zach Gallen just in case on a Game 5 scenario. And my thinking is Zach Gallen could go 6 in that scenario or even more, and then, all hands on deck with the staff to try to get through those last innings. But you got to get through today if you're the Dodgers, Steve, and get to that scenario against the Diamondbacks.
God, this is Game 3, man.
Yeah.
If the Dodgers lose, they're done.
They're done.
So Diamondbacks, I don't know if they're worried about Game 5 or Game 4, but they think they could close this out and not have to go back to L.A. That's my thought. There's the last thing on my mind if I'm the D-backs is losing these 2 games. You've got home field advantage right now. You want to take it out on Lynn. You want to try to scram. And they have been doing a great job of getting up early on the Dodgers. That's like I said, they sucked the life out of Dodger Stadium the first 2 games. And now that they're at home, they're expecting some home cooking, and I'm sure the crowd wants to finish off everybody hates the Dodgers, man. It's like the Yankees West. It's like everybody on the East Coast, we hate the Yankees. Everybody on the West Coast, you hate the Dodgers. So it's the same thing right here in Arizona. You didn't expect to be where you are. Now that you are, you want to bury the Dodgers and let them go away.
Now, is there a thought that Major League Baseball is going to pick up the red phone to the umpires to try to keep the Dodgers in the playoffs?
Absolutely.
How could we have Rangers versus Astros, Diamondbacks versus whoever, and have a successful ratings in the playoffs, Dibs? It's just going to be blasphemy if these franchises and these markets get to celebrate the game in New York and L.A. and Chicago. They don't.
I know. Dude, I already told you. I mean, a tough scenario would have been like, say, Baltimore versus the Baltimore versus the Houston Astros. No, those guys are both in the American League. It'd be like the Atlanta Braves, or the Diamondbacks, facing off with the Orioles. Listen, Ed Gorn, who used to run Fox when I worked there, all they wanted was the Dodgers Yankees every year. There was no other scenario that they wanted more than East Coast, West Coast, Dodgers, Yankees. Then we can sell that the most and get the most bang for our buck. And I would think that you want the Dodgers next, probably versus the Astros because of Dusty Baker and that whole storytelling thing. But you're still alienating the Midwest and the East Coast.
Yeah.
So they definitely, with the Rays losing, would probably like to have something like the Braves versus the Astros, or the Phillies versus the Astros, or the Rangers. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios, but the Dodgers being out of it would be the worst case scenario at this point.
And really, I think the Diamondbacks versus anybody in Major League Baseball's world could be the worst case. But I am here for the Diamondbacks, not because I put a future bet on it. No, not because of that. Because they are going to be the National League Tampa Bay Rays in the offseason. Everybody's going to point to them. The Padres are going to point to them. The Dodgers are going to point to them. The Angels are going to point to them. How did they do it? They didn't spend half of what we spent, and they're beating us? I don't know, Dibs. I think they're the fly in the ointment.
Listen, I hear you, but here's the thing, too. I mean, if the Astros get by the Twins, we have an all-Texas AL final, which I don't see as bad.
I like that. I'm here for that.
Any of these 4 teams getting to the World Series, I think, is solid. Atlanta, Philly, L.A., or the Diamondbacks. But to me, I'm not about selling the game. That's not my job. I'm about appreciating what these guys have. The Phillies have been a roller coaster all year. Braves have been steady, best team in baseball all year, besides the Rays. Dodgers been up and down all around. They've had nothing but injuries. But they still have some of the best players in baseball. Just thinking about Betts and Freddie Freeman, and the fact that how good those guys are. And they still should be with their respective organizations. Freddie should still be playing for the Braves. Mookie should still be playing for the Red Sox. I just think it's more like mercenaries playing for the Dodgers. I like a lot of these other organizations, especially the Braves, that have locked up all of their young players for the future.
Yeah.
Kind of remind me of the 90s Indians, now Guardians. I like when you give guys maybe not their market value, but you give them enough security where their only thought process is playing baseball.
Yeah, get used to the Braves. I mean, it's going to be like the 90s, man.
Every year, man. Every year. Then who saw this Strider kid? I mean, I had no idea that kid was going to be as good as he is. So, I mean, it's like the Astros and their pitching, or the Dodgers and their pitching. I'm flabbergasted by this Braves organization.
Yeah.
They continue to grow great pitchers in their minor league system.
Kurt, we got time for one more thing?
One more thing.
I believe we do. I got one more thing for both of you. This one, I'm glad you brought up Prime. It's kind of a primetime day here, 1992. Long time ago on this date, old Prime flew from Atlanta to Pittsburgh to play for the Atlanta Braves against the Pittsburgh Pirates in a playoff game. He was flying from an Atlanta Falcons game. He tried to play 2 games in one night, but he only suited up for 2 games in one night. And that was a quote from him after the game. As John Smoltz said, this is not a gimmick. This is a weapon. 7-1 Braves final. Dion was left off the lineup initially because he got to the ballpark with 16 minutes before first pitch.
Wow.
They did not need him or his speed, but they were ready to use him if they did. It's a sports feat that will be it could be duplicated again, but I don't know if it's going to be in our lifetimes.
The Kansas Jayhawks men's basketball program and Bill Self won't face any additional serious punishment stemming from the FBI's 2017 investigation into college basketball. They will have to vacate their wins from 2018 and their final 4 appearance. Yep, and the whole season due to Silvio De Sousa's participation. But Bill Self and assistant Curtis Townsend will face no further suspension.
And then after the asterisk, it will say price of doing business.
Absolutely.
Of doing business. Kurt, what do you got?
A Missouri man climbed into a hollowed-out pumpkin that he grew himself and paddled 38.4 miles down the Missouri River to break a world record.
What's the record?
Didn't even know that was a record.
Well, there was one. The record used to be 37.5 miles, and that was done way back in 2022.
In a pumpkin?
In a pumpkin.
When did we start going down rivers in pumpkins? Just like recently?
I don't know, but definitively this means that there is nothing to do in Missouri.
That is absolutely crazy.
I think we can beat it.
I think we can too. We just have to grow a pumpkin big enough for Ben to get in.
That's the easy part.
I'm not doing it. I'll sink like a stone. All right, everybody, enjoy the pregame to the postgame here, and enjoy the baseball tonight.